Well, hello my friends, and happy Sunday to you. So today I am creating a very big, this is a 4x4 canvas. And I thought I would take you along this journey because as I was thinking about my process when I do this, it was so important, and how I think we should approach our work so often. And when we are looking for inspiration but can't find it, I always go back to this, and here's why. So if I'm asked to do a commission, my customer doesn't come to me and say, paint me a picture. I'd be like, okay, well, there would be some questions that I would have to ask. Where is it going? What do you like? What are your colors? There's a lot of things that happen in the process of me doing a commission piece. And as I was thinking about that today, I thought, this is how I approach my work 99% of the time. And how I think sometimes when I'm not able to create, that I've forgotten some of these steps to creating. And so that's why our story and being present is so important. Because I ask my clients, what do you like? What are your favorite colors? If it's for someone, who are they? Tell me something about them. What are their likes? What are their passions? All those kinds of things play into what we create. And so when we're creating for ourselves, we need to ask ourselves those same questions. And I think if you've been around me long enough, you know that's what I do every Sunday when I come to you. I've asked myself that week, what do I need? And or I've been journaling and I've been writing it out, and I know right away what I'm passionate about, what I'm frustrated about, all of the different things. And all of those things, our story, our life, our everyday moments, make our art what it is. And so if you're struggling to know what to create, ask yourself the questions: what do I love? What are my favorite colors? What am I passionate about? And so those are the questions that I have asked myself about this piece. This piece is not a commission piece. This is actually for my own house. We just redid our bedroom, and so I'm doing a new piece for the bedroom. And as I was preparing to create this, I asked myself the same questions that I asked my clients. And so in this piece will be part of my story, or all of my story, and my relationship with my hubby, and the things that we love to do together, that we're passionate about, all these different things. And so out here on my table, I've got, so faith is a big part of, us, who we are. And so I've got scripture out here, and I'll use some of that in my work. I've got some stencils, well, because it's stencils. I've got vintage papers out here, but each one has something that's specific to my story, that tells me something about my story, how often we travel, how family is important. All of those things I am choosing to put into the canvas. I've got my favorite things out. I've even created a palette of colors that I love. This one's a no-go of what I love and what will look good in our space. And so I ask myself the same questions all the time about what I'm creating. And every time I do that, and every time I'm present with what I do every day, whether it be who I'm talking to, or what I'm reading, or what I'm listening to, or all of those kinds of things, the relationships and everyday moments, if I can be present and remind myself of those things, those are the things that will inspire us to create, and to create that is passionate and our own story. it has such depth when we are a part of what we create. And when we have an attachment to it, to our work, it just becomes more alive to me. I can see when someone talks about their art and it's part of who they are, it's amazing, it's wonderful, it's inspiring. So I encourage you today, and what I'm doing here on this large canvas, you can do the same exact thing on a small canvas or on a wood or whatever the sizes I typically would create on. You can do the same thing. I will say this, as I have my supplies out, as you work bigger, your supplies get bigger. So typically, I work with a brush like this. Now I'll be working with bigger brushes. Here's a regular palette knife. It goes bigger and then bigger. And so keep that in mind if you decide to go big, and I encourage you to do that. It's kind of intimidating, maybe not a 4x4, but maybe the next step up. I typically work 12x12, maybe go 16x16. Never know. Or if you're in a journal, a small journal, go to a big journal. But keep that in mind as you go bigger, your tools go bigger, and the quantity of what you're using goes bigger. So out here I've got regular house paint that I will be using this is chalk paint, that I'll be using that to do kind of my base coat. And then I've got my other regular supplies that will be just accents and things like that. But think about that as well if you decide to go bigger. All right, so let's dive in. All right, my loves, there she is. I love, love, love this. I'm going to do a close-up of this with the camera so you can see the texture. You can't really see it from the distance. But the texture is phenomenal. This is silver in here. You can't really tell that either. And I tried to see if I could turn it to get it. It's so, so pretty. All of the layers in here have such deep, deep meaning to me. It makes it so incredibly special. I can see all of the layers and everything. And that's what I wanted to just share with you today, because I get asked all the time. In fact, I just got asked a couple days ago via email how I find my inspiration. And I want to encourage you to be present, to take the time to sit with yourself, to know you, to rest, to do things that you love, to pay attention to the conversations that you have, even with just random strangers. All of those things are inspiration to me. And when I'm not feeling inspired, there's usually a couple of reasons. One, I haven't rested, which has been the case for the last month or so, where I've just gone, and I'm not refilling that tank, and I'm not taking the time to read, to journal like I should, to do all of those things that help my inspiration. But my inspiration comes from absolutely every single thing. One word, one conversation, one line that I've read, a song, a TV show, I mean everything. I just try to pay attention to those moments where when something is said, it makes me think, it makes me pause. So pay attention to those moments. And then when something like that happens, ask yourself about it, write about it. Ask yourself what you love, what makes you happy, what colors, just ask a lot of questions of yourself to find your inspiration. That's what I do when I'm in need of inspiration. Rest and self-care is a big part of inspiration. And then just being present in the moment with your conversations, with absolutely everything. I mean, our world is filled, and so sometimes there's so much noise coming at us. If we can pause for a second and be very intentional about what we take in, whether it's our music or what we read or our journal time, our devotional time. For me, faith is a big part of my inspiration, which I shared at the beginning about this. There's so many different things for each of us that are very, very different, that sometimes we forget to pay attention, and we forget to be present, and we forget to ask ourselves the questions, what do I need today? What do I love? What am I grateful for? All those kinds of things. And then rest. Making sure that you take care of yourself is so very important when you're trying to find inspiration. And then once you find inspiration, a lot of people say like, okay, now what do I create? It doesn't really matter. Just do something like I did last video, where I didn't have an idea. I just did something, and from that, you get inspired. And so I just encourage you to pause for a second and reflect. If you're trying to find inspiration for different projects or different things, or just something to do within your journals or your artwork, pause for a second, take care of yourself, rest, and then be present and take a lot of notes. I know that sounds funny, but I have a pen on my phone, and when I have a conversation with someone that makes me think about, gosh, that was really meaningful, I write it down. I'm present in the moment and I pay attention. It doesn't always work for me, and I'm not always perfectly great with it. However, I do try super hard to be present. All right, my friends, the 2 stencils that I used today, which are fantastic, by the way, are going to be on sale this week. And this is the last day for the early bird sign up for the Feathered Friends workshop. So jump on that. It's the last day to get all the bonus and the discount. And thank you so much for being here with me today. I so appreciate it. And I hope that your Sunday is restful. peaceful, and that you take time to be present to find inspiration if you're needing that. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.